Dear students, welcome to the session which is dedicated for understanding the exam techniques to do well in your financial reporting exam. This exam is very important because whenever you will be joining any firm, any workplace, any organization, so the things that you have understood in this paper will be applied in practice. Okay, because whatever you study in your financial reporting exam is actually done in businesses. It's actually followed by the organizations. So this is something that you will be able to apply straight away. So that's why it's a very important exam. Once you're qualified, or even if like a lot of you are working, so you know that whatever you study in these papers, in the financial accounting, the previous paper, the F3, the financial accounting FA, which you call it, and this paper, financial reporting, which is of a higher standard, of a higher caliber, all the stuff can be actually seen, can be practically seen in the real life, in your working life. Okay, and the next paper would also be very much applicable. But these things will be tested straight away because you won't be given some higher tasks that require more challenging, because you are just starting to work in an organization, and the organization won't take risk to put you in a difficult area. Okay, so these are the specific tasks which you are likely to be doing. Okay, so that's why this paper is very important. Okay, now let's understand uh, the use of the examiner's reports. So I'm going to be discussing a couple of very important exam tips which will be very useful. So the examiner reports will be giving us some very valuable answers, and I would like you people to know what sort of questions you should be asking of the examiner team, and those answers can be found in the examiner reports. And you see, those examiner reports must be studied for a couple of attempts, not just the most recent attempt, but couple of attempts. And the examiner would discuss the limitations that the students had, which made them fail, or which made them, do not score high marks. And the examiner will also tell you what are the qualities of the of really good students who scored very high marks. So what we are trying to do here is we're trying to get the extra marks, because those small extra marks through these tips are going to help pass the exam, and this will make a huge difference. Okay, so we're going to discuss three top tips here to pass the FR exam relating to the examiner's reports. Okay, so let's see. As I said that we are looking to get the extra mark, because you see a lot of students might fail at at a very high mark like 49 or 48, and if we have these extra marks, those extra marks can actually make a huge difference, and you might end up passing the exam. So students who come and tell me that they scored 49, those students could actually learn these tips and benefit and pass. And those students who are really good, they could actually add few marks so that they could be among the 80% or the 90%. Okay, so these little things will make a huge difference. So what sort of questions should we be asking? As I mentioned, what do good students do to enable them to pass? So these such questions would be answered in the examiner's reports. What mistakes have students made in the exam in the past that I can learn from? Okay, so these answers are valuable, which will help you prepare well for your exam. So answer to these questions are available in the ACCA examiner's report, and as I've told you, that you should not be only focusing on like one or two sittings. You should be looking at a couple of reports. Studying them will give you a lot of benefit, a lot of confidence that you know a lot of stuff that can help you pass the exam. So these are available on ACCA website, and you can study them. So here is the first top tip Read the examiner's report slowly and thoroughly. I would recommend that you people make notes. Okay, like you study a paragraph, you found that this point is critical. You should make notes so that you could remember them and you could revise those things, because those things you will, when you read the report, you will see that those points are really important. Obviously, we are going to cover a few of those things in the session today, but reading the report on your own and giving it proper time, thinking about it, it is going to be very beneficial. Okay, so you should be making notes of the points that are identified by the examiner. So, and as I said, you should be focusing on reading a couple of reports, not just the most recent exam. Okay, so this is the first top tip. And when you people are going to use these examiner reports, this is going to be very beneficial. Okay, so I hope we are fine. So students, moving on to the next thing. Okay, we have a range of topics examined by the examiner in the recent exams. So what does this give us an idea? You see, I can just go through the topics which have been tested in the recent exams. Topics related to the accounting policies, financial instruments, or IFRS 9, PPE, and related to it is the borrowing cost, the government grant, leases, foreign exchange revenue. So providing you a huge list actually means that the examiner is going to test everything. The examiner is going to test a wide range of topics. So the big tip here, the second top tip, would be to cover everything. If you plan to skip certain things that these might not come in the syllabus, then you are making a huge mistake for your section A and for your section B. This is quite important that you study and you cover all the topics. You do not want to give a chance to the examiner to fail you. You cannot take this risk. Okay. So this brings me to my second top tip, is that read and study the whole syllabus properly. We at Vertex have provided you all sorts of resources. We have the video lectures, we have the quizzes, we have the question practice section, we have the live session, we have the WhatsApp support. Now, the burden in your is at you people, that you people have to work hard and utilize this great opportunity, because this ACCA qualification is huge. This is going to be of great benefit in your future jobs that you do, or some businesses that you might set up. Okay, so this is quite important. I would again like to emphasize that the examiner is not shy of testing topics. He is going to test a lot of topics, and if you have planned that you're going to skip some topics, then that's a huge mistake. You should be covering all the topics. So moving on, we have the range of expected questions in section C. So these are the topics which have been tested. The single entity accounts preparation, analysis of the single entity financial statements, that's your interpretation, the preparation of the consolidated financial statements, analysis of the consolidated financial statements. So these are the expected topics for your section C, and I will be giving you the now this is my top tip 3, where I am sharing the list of questions which the examiner team has highlighted for you people to do. Okay, for the preparation of the financial statements, for analysis. So you should be focusing on practice of these questions, because these questions are going to make you understand the topics. Okay, so this is quite important. So all the topics will be shared, and the question practice material. So these questions are found in your revision kits. A lot of those questions are available on the Vertex site, where we have provided the solutions, where we have provided the Excel sheets, so you can benefit. Okay. So I am moving on to the next area, the consolidated financial statements, its preparation, and its analysis. So these are the topics which are covered in section C, and these are the question practice material which you can use to benefit. Okay, so these questions are available on the Vertex site, and as I said, a lot of them have been practiced. Okay, so I think this is quite useful. You people can see that this is a lot of material which is being recommended by the examiner. Okay, for understanding these topics properly. So I hope you're fine. So we have discussed three major tips here, okay? That we are going to go through the examiner reports, that we're not going to skip any part of the syllabus. And in the third part, I have identified the specific areas which will be tested, and I have identified the specific questions which you must do to master the techniques which will be tested in these areas. Okay. So I hope you are comfortable. You understand like these questions: Vernon, Dujon, Haverford, Bunn, Morville, Punject. So these are all available. I will be sharing this slide with you so that you people can later on look at those questions. So students, can we proceed? I hope you people are fine. If there are any questions, you can ask me. All of this material is available on Vertex site. Okay, that's very good. Excellent. So moving on, the next section of the techniques is about analyzing the requirement. You see, you people have been doing a lot of question practice, and you people have been asking questions. This is very good. But what I am here to provide is those tips for the extra marks. Okay, the top tips to get extra marks, which uh, which are the things which you might be missing. Okay, so I want you people to look at this information provided in one of the questions, and then see what what is required and how we can answer that better. So you people can see, I will be reading it. You people can read it on your own as well. Explain how Walker Co should be accounted for in the consolidated statement of financial position of Runner Co for the year ended 31st of March 2026. Your answer should also include a calculation of the carrying amount of the investment in associate at that date. So you see, this information is provided to give you specific hints that Walker is an associate, and when we have identified that Walker is an associate, we have marks that we have to earn by explaining what is an associate. If we do not explain that, then those marks are lost. If we look at those 4 marks, so clearly you can see that the question requires us to explain what is an associate, what is significant influence, and then what is equity accounting. And so these things will give us 2 marks, and the other 2 marks are going to be for calculation. So it is very important to understand the requirement. Okay. So let's move on. So these are the things which need to be identified here, that associate is a significant influence, and we have to do the equity accounting for associate. And if we haven't mentioned, if we haven't written anything, it means that we have lost the marks allocated for the written bits, and we do not want to do that. Okay. So students, I am moving on. So here we have the top tip, the stuff that we have discussed and what we have extracted from that is that when reading the requirement, when it requires more than one task, make sure that you answer all of them. Do the written answer if required. Okay, so if you just look at the requirement and you just jump towards calculating the the associate part, the one liner item or the equity accounting for associate, then you have actually lost your 2 marks. And if you end up doing the numerical working wrong, then you have lost all the marks. So it's very important to look at the requirement in a relaxed and calm mode. You should not panic. You should not try to hurry through things. And this is very important part, that where you spend time, you understand what is required. Okay, so that you do not miss out on some important details which should be answered. Okay, so this is our another next top tip that we have got to get extra marks. Okay, so I am moving on with the next scenario, which might be provided in the question. So here we have another point for analyzing the requirement. Let's look at the requirement. Explain three possible limitations of the comparison between Banco and the sector average ratios provided. Okay, so a lot of students would just rush to identify the possible limitations. Okay, so you see there are 3 marks available. Okay, so we could just quickly jump to identify that these could be the possible limitations of the ratio analysis, and we would skip Banco. So we have to relate to the answer. So the top tip here is that we relate to the answer. So here, the example is that there are these 2 points. These are the same points. This is a generic point, different accounting policies. So if you use this generic point, then you have actually lost marks. But if you relate it to Banco may have different accounting policies to sector, and if this is the case, it limits the comparability. Okay, so you see, if you as a student look at this point, different accounting policies, and you also analyze this point that Banco may have different accounting policies to the sector, and if this is the case, it limits the comparability. So you are actually giving a very strong impression or putting a very strong impression on the marker. Okay, and you could easily get the attention of the marker and get those extra marks that we are focusing on in this session. So this is very, very important that you understand the requirement and relate your answers with the information provided in the question. So here comes the next top tip. Relate your answers in the question. Do not write generic answers. The generic answers are going to limit your marks. The examiner is going to get a view that you are in a hurry and you haven't explained things properly as expected by the marking team. So this was about analyzing the requirements. So I hope you people are with me and you people are benefiting. I'm about to move to the next major thing that we need to understand. Very good. So the next important area is related to the interpretation question, where the heading is about understanding the scenarios, which is specific to section C questions. So again, we are continuing with this bun example or a bun question, which was assessed in September-December 2019 exam. So we have this other relevant information. We will see that the use of other information will be very useful in answering the question, in making your points heavier, in making the points make more sense. In 20x6, Banco acquired a popular brand name. At 31st of December 2007, the brand represented 20% of non-current assets. The remaining 80% of non-current assets comprises of the property from which Banco operates its bakery and shops. The property is owned by Banco and has no directly associated finance. The property was revalued in 20x4. Okay, so as we move on, we're going to see why they are telling us about that Bun has this or Bun has recently acquired a popular brand name, and what does this mean that the property is owned by Bun and has no directly associated finance. Okay, so clearly this is going to help Bun achieve more sales. This is going to reduce having to own the property, reduces the expenses such as rent, and with no finance, which means that there is going to be less interest cost. So I've just given you some ideas. So we're going to move on and discuss them specifically. Okay. In the year ended 31st of December 2007, Banco began offering discounted deals to customers. Banco hoped this strategy would help to reduce perishable inventory and reduce inventory holding periods. So we have been given that this is the strategy followed by Ban, and we are going to see by looking at the information such as the inventory days that has this strategy worked or not. Okay, so let's see. So we have to understand. We could simply look at the sector averages and the information provided by Ban and give the analysis, a generic analysis. But if we have understood these points, we could make a really good analysis which could fetch us easy marks. Okay. So now another important area that the calculation part is 7 marks only. However, the written bits are 10 marks. So this makes it more important to understand the other information. Okay, so you see, adjust for the information in note 3 and calculate the 20x7 sector average. So here I have provided this information, but this has to be calculated. So these calculations would give you 7 marks. However, the discussion of the points would give you 10 marks. So that is actually more marks. So if you have understood the scenario properly, then you could easily score those 10 marks. And you could actually basically engage marker in a more impressive way. So here comes the top tip. The key to assessing financial performance and position is to consider the ratios alongside information given in the scenario. So this is the next top tip for getting those extra marks which might make us pass or which might make us score high. Okay. So now I'm going to see the ratios and I'm going to see how I'm going to relate that information. I have discussed some points with you, but let's now look at the ratios and relate to the information. So here, the information is one has acquired a popular brand name. So when we look at the operating profit margin, the operating profit margin for one is higher than the operating profit margin of the sector, which is only 8.6, and one has 12.5. So this acquisition of the brand would actually give Bun more sales. Okay, and that's why Bun has a better operating profit margin. Okay, we can discuss that the ROS is good, but right now I'm only discussing the extra information, the information provided in the scenario, and how I will be making good use of it. So the application of it and the understanding, so that is going to help you get marks. So here, if we have this brand, we can charge higher prices and we can have higher profits. Okay, so this is a critical point to understand here. So let's move on. Further information. Bunko operates its bakery and shops. The property is owned by Bunko and has no directly associated finance. So this clearly relates to less expenses, and it also relates to gearing. Okay, because you see they have no uh, associated finance related to the property. So and they that shows that the debt to equity ratio is very low as compared to the sector. The sector averages show that it's a sector which has debt problem. Okay, but when we look at Bun has a better debt to equity ratio percentage. So this clearly means that this is going to have less finance cost for Bun, less expenses because the property is owned. There is no rent to be paid. Okay. So, and this would also mean that Bun can raise further finance easily. Bun is less vulnerable as compared to other bakeries in the sector. Okay, so this is how we should be using the points, and this is how we can easily earn those 10 marks which are available for the writing. So if we just say that the operating profit margin is better, ROS is better, the inventory holding days are more, this is inefficient, something like that. So this really is not deep, this really is not heavy. But when you relate this extra information, the quality of your answer is lifted. Okay. So this is quite important to understand. So let's move on to the next points. So furthermore, the like we have already discussed this information, but now we have the numbers alongside, and we can see. So I would just like to pause here and ask you that are you people still with me? I do not want to lose the contact. Yes, yes, students. Very good. Yeah, if there is any question, you can stop me, and we can discuss. Okay. Yeah, this is a session for the exam techniques, and this is also a session. If you do not understand anything, you can ask. Okay, so let's see. We have this further information. Banco operates. Okay, that's good. So Banco began offering discounted meals to customers. Banco hoped this strategy would help to reduce perishable inventory and reduce inventory holding periods. So you see, Bun is in the food industry, and their inventory is perishable, and they should get rid of the inventory quickly. They should have very short inventory holding period. So they have introduced this strategy that they have offered discount on meals to the customers. Okay, so here if we look at the sector average for inventory holding periods, it's quite good. It's only 4 days. But when it comes to Bund, it is 17.4 days. So this clearly suggests that this new strategy is not working. Okay, Bun has this issue, and Bun's efficiency in terms of selling the inventory is not good. Okay, so you know we can easily we can identify that Bun has a very high inventory holding period. But with this point and with identifying that this new strategy was made specially to do that is not working, because those days are still quite high as compared to the sector average, and quite high as compared to the specific industry. It's bakery, it's food. So you cannot hold the inventory for a very long time. It's not going to taste good after a certain time. So this is going to be a huge problem. Okay. So keeping in mind the bakery, keeping in mind the food items, this is going to enhance the quality of your answer. So understanding an application, Bun's inventory appears slow. So the next top tip that comes up, and it is related, is that responses must relate to the questions asked. If the answer is generic, if the answer has not considered the important points, because all this information is hints. all these paragraphs or all these sentences which the examiner has put in intentionally to for you to use. But if you do not use, then you're actually using critical marks, those extra marks that might make you fail, or that might make you pass, or that might make you get extra marks. If you're a high scoring student, you could also benefit from those extra marks. Okay, so basically this video is focused on how the students could get the extra marks. You people are studying, I know people are doing the questions, but there are few polishing points which could actually help you enhance the chances of your success. Okay, so here we are about to conclude the session. So uh, I have highlighted few points here. The another major area, basically, I couldn't make the whole set of slides. I might make further, like when I share those slides, I might enhance them. So, but right now I have those points listed, which are very, very important. Okay. Don't consider those points as just simple. I'm going to discuss them because this is another important area. Do proper workings. It's just these three words, but these are very, very heavy. You see, the markers have this authority to give you full marks even if you have used the wrong figure. It means that if you have done the whole working correctly, but due to the exam pressure and due to some anxiety or some, some panicking thing, you have written it incorrectly. Okay. The marker is not going to deduct the marks because they will be looking at your detailed working, and in the detailed working you have written the correct you have calculated the correct figure, or you have done the correct process. Or if there was a figure to be placed in a certain area and you have placed it in that specific area, but that figure is wrong, you will get the marks. Okay. So but if there are no workings, if you have just quickly calculated your answers and you haven't written any and you haven't shown any workings, then how can the marker see that you have done it correctly or incorrectly? The marker just has the final answer, so the marker is not going to give you any marks. Okay, so workings are critical. Workings are a gem in a question. They are very, very important. So the way to do the answers is like as I do in the live session, or as you have seen the videos or the practice videos in the session, that first of all, you should have the main answer in your Excel sheet. For example, it is required to make the statement of financial position. So in the first part of your Excel sheet, it should be the main requirement. You should be putting the statement of financial position on the front. And then the workings should follow. The working should be underneath the main answer, and the workings should be referenced properly. Working one, working two, working three, working four, and so on. This basically, you see, you have to do the workings to get the answers. But if you do them properly, if you do them in a structured way, then that is going to help you get your extra marks, which are critical. Okay. So this is very, very important. I feel that I have emphasized less on the importance of working. So it is very, very, very important that you have proper workings, and it should be properly presented. You should be doing a lot of practice on Excel to understand that your presentation is neat and that your presentation can be followed by the markers. They can see how well you have presented. Now comes the written part. You see, you have to write a lot of you have to answer a lot of written parts. So you must write in paragraphs. Don't write in a huge chunk of information. You must write in paragraphs. You must use headings, because when you write a separate paragraph, when you give a specific heading, you are actually giving an indication to the marker that you are putting or you are presenting a different information. You should be getting different marks for it. Okay, so it is quite important that you write in paragraphs. Do not write a huge chunk of information. Use headings if you have to differentiate the previous paragraph with the current paragraph. Okay, so this is very, very important. Next one. Now this point, I will just explain. I haven't written enough of the text here. Understand important workings and master them. A lot of students do not know how to do the statement of changes in equity. So how to do the goodwill working? They would miss out on discounting the deferred consideration. So these are basic things which you must do, and when I mean master them, you must practice them and you should do them properly, because you see, putting every information like sales and calculating the cost of sales, putting all those information there is only get you few marks. But when you have to do some extra, you have to do some kind of discounting, you have to do some adjustment for accrual or some specific point. If you have missed out on that, that is actually the juicy part. That is actually the part where the marks are available. So you must do those things properly. And you can only do them properly if you have practiced them. Okay. And you see, if you have prepared for the exam well, then you should not panic. You should go in the exam with confidence, and you should have full faith in your ability. Look at every question in a calm way, keeping in mind that you have done all the hard work. Now is the time to apply it, and never panic in the exam. That is not going to help at all. Okay, so stay calm and look at the requirements. Now, another thing which I have seen, I have discussed with students, that a lot of students would go for section C first. This is a huge mistake of going for section C first. So never, never, never go for section C first. Always go for section A and section B. Then go for section C. Okay. Basically, answering section A and section B is easy because a lot of preparation is done through section A and section B. So you have good ability to deal with that section. So if you go and attack the section C first, that's a huge mistake, and that is going to reduce your chances of passing the exam by a great deal. Okay, so section A first, section B second, and try to get as many marks as you can from the section A and section B, so that you are left with very little to be earned from section B. At times, students might be weak in the written weights. Students might have not done a lot of practice for section C. So you would just like to get the enough from section C to get a pass. Okay. So this is one approach. But the students who have really done well, they should also, like, if they have prepared very, very well, they should also attack section A and section B first, and then attack section C, so that they could maximize their chances of getting highest marks. Okay, so this last tip is critical, because it feels really bad when we hear that a student comes and tell that I did section C first. So this is very bad. I don't want my students to do this big mistake. So attack your section A and section B first, and then section C. Okay. So this brings us to the end of this session. I hope you have benefited. I will make this session available on site, and I will be sharing this slide with you, and I will enhance it further. Okay, because I was under a bit of pressure. I had to deal with a lot of other things. So you will benefit from it a lot. Watch it and make sure that you read the examiner reports. The examiner reports will give you critical answers. What are the mistakes that students do? What are the things that good students do? And that is going to make a huge difference in your ability to get extra marks. Yes, students, I hope you people have benefited. And if there are any questions, I am available to answer them.
Sir,
Yes.
Can I use abbreviation for example, PPE, plan and property
Yes.
equipment,
PPE is common. You can use that. There is no.
retained earnings?
Yes, you can do that. These things are common. Yes.
Thanks.
You see, these things are at times given in the solution. If you look at the ACCA solutions. So, but do not go for everything a lot of students might do. Then that is going to be dangerous. That is going to actually make them lose their marks. Okay. So, like the myth that you mentioned, PPE is very typical. Yes, students. Any questions? So, yeah, if there are no more questions, then I will be concluding the session, and then we will be uploading this slide, and we will be uploading the video so that you could watch it again and benefit from it. And my strong recommendation is to utilize the remaining time very intelligently, very smartly by focusing on question practice. Okay. A lot of you are working, but this exam has to be passed. I want all of you to be successful. Okay. We at Vertex are available for you, and we are working hard to provide you the best possible support. So, in return of that, we want maximum of you to be successful. Okay. This is very, very important for us that you people become successful, that you move on to the next level. Yes, you should read the examiner report. That is very, very important. That was my first top tip. Yes, the examiner reports are critical. You should read them thoroughly. You should read them slowly. You should make notes of the examiner reports. They will enhance your chances of success, and they will actually make you more confident. They will help you achieve the extra marks, which will be making a huge difference. So, students, I am about to conclude. I hope you people have benefited from the session. It was a different one. We did not discuss a specific topic. It was about the examiner report, or it was about the exam techniques to get the extra marks. That's very good. So, students, take good care. That is all for the day. You're welcome.